हे कृष्ण करुणा सिंधु दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये नमो महावदनाय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे नमः ओम विष्णु पादाय कृष्णा पृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्ति वेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्यं नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत् नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवती उत्तम श्लोकैर्भक्तिर्भवति नैष्ठिकी ग्रंथराज श्रीमद् भागवतम की जय श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय गौरव भक्त वृंद की जय. So we will be reading Canto 6, Chapter 16, text number 8 onward. King Chitraketu meets the Lord. So you know the background of this verses that King Chitraketu he was like he became a demon later on, but so Narad Muni, and then he had only one son who was poisoned by his co-wives. Because of this poisoning, he died. Then everybody is so much lamenting. Then Narad Muni and Angera Rishi, they come and then they advise him. They bring the child back to the life. So the child is being, the Narad brings the dead son into everybody's vision, and the Jiva is speaking. What he says that in which birth are these my parents? No one is permanently related. Relationship and feelings of possessiveness are temporary. So this is my possessiveness means I own this, I'm the master, I'm the owner, I'm the proprietor. So many things that we boast on, although every property belongs to Krishna. So this child is saying that when you were my parents, I had millions of parents in my various lives. And according to my destiny or according to the arrangement of the Supreme Lord, you were my parents, but now I have some another parent, another setup. So that is going on. So because of his teaching, his advice, hearing from 5-year-old child, completely Chitraketu's heart completely changed. And then Narad Muni also advises him. So these are the verses, particularly this text number 8. Relation is only for the body. This relationship, what we see, son, father, mother, wife, children. So the jiva who has entered a body is eternal. The jiva is eternal, nitya, and without any material identity. As long as the jiva, material identity means we identify that I am American, Indian, white, black, rich, poor, beautiful, non-beautiful, disease or not disease, I'm very healthy. So many things that we designate, but that is all designation of the body, not of the soul. Soul is same, he is equanimous, he is equal, he does not change, but he serves the Supreme Lord by his transcendental senses. Right now we have material senses, so there is a difference. As long as the jiva stays in his body, he identifies himself as the son of a certain father and mother. But really, they are certain father and mother. That is very temporary. That is not the permanent arrangement. That is we are identifying with the body. And that's why there is a problem that we rotate to so many species of life. Krishna is given according to our desires 8.4 million species. Like that many dresses are there that one can take. So text number 8. Evam yoni gato jiva sanityo nirahankratah yavat yadyo yatropalabheta tavat swastvam itashatat. Even though one living entity becomes connected with another because of a relationship, based on bodies that are perishable. The living entity is eternal. Living entity is eternal, and in that eternal atmosphere, unless we go to the eternal atmosphere, we cannot be happy. We are looking this Anando Maya Abhyasa. We are looking for Anand, but it's not available in the material world. More we think that when we try to satisfy that Ananda by satisfying our senses, and we get more entangled. Like you put some fuel in the fire, it will become burn more. Or you put petrol or whatever, it does not really help. It does not satisfy us. Everybody is not satisfied. Everybody is in anxiety how to become happy. But the material formula does not work. You have to go to the spiritual formula. Adhyatmic Jivan, the soul's level like this. You have to water the root. Root cause of us, the soul, is Krishna. And unless we understand simple fact that Krishna is the one to be served, if he is happy, we become automatically happy. So the body's relationship, that is perishable. It just goes away. We don't know when. So the living entity is eternal. Actually, it is the body that is born or lost. The whenever who dies, that is the body is dead. And then it is alive because of the consciousness comes from the soul. Although it is a little 1/10,000 part of the tip of the hair, but it is the spark that gives you a consciousness that all the parts of the body that work. And at the death, the body lies down there, but who is gone? That is the soul that is gone. So unless we satisfy the soul and soul's activity, our Swarup is to serve Krishna. Jivera Swarupa Krishna Nitya Das. Unless that is done, actually it is the body that is born or lost, not the living entity. One should not accept that the living entity takes a birth or dies. Living entity, that is the soul. That is the living entity. Body is dead now and all the time body is dead. Even not only at the time of death, because once the soul is gone, the body is dead. If the heart does not function, body is dead, but that is material. But soul is, that is the real, yeah, heart is functioning, brain is functioning, all the organs are functioning because of the soul, the spirit soul. So the body takes birth and dies also, but not the living entity. It is the body that is born or lost, not the living entity. One should not accept that the living entity takes birth or dies. It is same. If you read second chapter of Bhagavad Gita, many things about the soul has been given. The living being actually has no relationship with so-called fathers and mothers. The living being, the soul has no relationship. Body may have relationship temporarily. So material world is all temporary. It changes, 6 changes are there. Somebody is born, they grow, they live for some time, they produce byproducts, usually they dwindle and become invalid or incapacitated and then dies. So those changes are there and everywhere in the material. But that is the bodily changes, not the soul. Soul remains the same. So soul has no relationship because the soul comes from Krishna. We have relationship with Krishna. So whatever that we are imposing here, it should be diverted to Krishna. And if that is done, that is the part of Krishna consciousness. If we become Krishna conscious, then we make our relationship with Krishna. As long as he appears as the son of a certain father and mother as a result of his past fruitive activities, he has a connection with the body given by that father and mother. So we have connection temporarily through the semen of the father. That seed comes, that spark of life that comes from the rain to the grain to the father, and then it is injected into the mother, and then it grows from a pea size to the whole big size. That is, but it is arrangement of the Supreme Lord, not our own arrangement. Only the living being produces a living being. Other like when we do, you say that, oh, you could grow up in the laboratory, but that is because living being is already there. That's why we could do tissue culture and all these things, or cloning, and because the living being. So Jiva produces Jiva, not the chemicals. Nobody has made anybody by injecting a dead man. Why don't they inject? Prabhupada says that let them inject some chemicals and let him be alive. But nobody has done it so far. and nobody would be able to do it. And we come in contact with because of our karmic reaction. Somebody may be our friend, we are indebted to some parents, so we come and serve them. There may be enemies as son or wife, or there may be enemies may be there, and to take revenge, you come as a son. It's possible. According to our karma or destiny, who would be your destiny decides who would be your father, mother, who would be your which country you will be born, which township, what family that you will be born, and what time and day and what time you will die, and who will be your wife, and what would be your education, and what kind of degree, and how much money you will be able to earn. All these are predestined according to your karma, whether it is coming past life or so many thousands of lifetimes before. It could be from any time, means it could fructify at any time. And then it is, when it comes in this life, that is arranged, karmana deva netrena, then you get a body, you get a father, mother. So past fruitive activities means activities that you do some work and then you want to enjoy the fruits of that is fruitive activity. He has a connection with the body given by the father and mother. Thus he falsely accepts himself as their son and acts affectionately. After he dies, however, the relationship is finished. Under these circumstances, one should not be falsely involved with jubilation and lamentation. Shoka moha, jubilation and show that you're elated. You feel, oh, very nice. I have son. I have this. I have earned this. But where can it stay with you? We change in the hands of the like a land or money or like say animal. You have the animal and then you sell it. It belongs to somebody else. Then you don't care what is happening. So everything is arranged by the Supreme Lord. So when the living entity lives with the material body, he falsely thinks that he is the body, although actually he is not. He is a spirit soul. His relationship with his body and his so-called father and mother are false. Why false? You may say that because he is not the real father. Real father is Krishna, not the real father. We think that this father are temporary, or you may say nimitta, that just agent for somebody. Like I give some money to somebody to build a house, then he built the house, but does it belong to the person who built it? Or whatever that you produce, the child is there, it does not belong to the parents. They are acting as an agent. So father and mother are false, illusory connections. These illusions continue as long as one is not enlightened about the situation of the living entity. So unless we know Atma Tattva, unless we know who we are, what is our relation with the Supreme Lord, where would we going, what is our goal. Sanatan Goswami is so learned. He is asking that people call me very, very learned. I know so many languages. They worship me. I was a minister. But he put the grass in between his teeth. He is saying that, my Lord, who am I? Why I am suffering threefold material misery? Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik. What is, how I can be cured of all this? So he is getting this instruction from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Whole Chaitanya Charitamrita is in answers to all these questions. So when the living entity lives within the material body, he falsely thinks that he is the body. But although we are the spirit soul, although actually he is not, his relationship with his body and his so-called father and mother are false, illusory conception. These illusions continue as long as one is enlightened about the situation. When he is enlightened, he will understand. Text number 9. Esha nityo avaya sukshma, esha sarvashaya swadrak, atma maya guner vishwam atmanam sajate prabhu. The living entity is eternal, शाश्वत, हमेशा रहने वाली, and imperishable. It doesn't, nobody can cut it, dissolve it, burn it into any pieces. So Atma is always the same. It does not change, but it can be covered, and then that covering has to be removed. In eternal and imperishable, because he actually has no beginning and no end. It's all the time, Shashwat. It's all the time their soul. He never takes birth or dies. The one takes birth is the body. He is the basic principle of all types of bodies. So soul is there in everybody, everybody. It's a different soul. Everybody has a different soul, but different their past karmas. So they don't act the same way because the karma is there. There, along with the body, there is mind, intelligence, ego. That is there. These three things: mind, intelligence, and ego, that go with the soul. And then, according to his activity, what he deserves, then he gets another body. Yet he does not belong to the bodily category. We belong to the spiritual category. We are a spark, part and parcel of Krishna, who is Supreme Spirit. Uh, so we are part of that. We are part of Krishna, not of the material world. But why the living entity who is of a superior nature, like Krishna, then why he gets trapped by Maya? Because Maya takes the shelter uh, of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. She acts under Lord, but we have given up because we have given a minute independence. And by misuse of the minute independence, we get trapped into the material world. Then we have given up the support of Krishna, who is the Supreme Lord. So then we are our own, and then we can be trapped by Maya. But otherwise, we are of a higher nature, but our higher nature is covered. And then, so that's why Devi Esha Gunamaya Mama Maya Duratya, Mamaya Prapadante. We have not taken shelter of Krishna. Maya Metam Taradante. If you take the shelter of Krishna, then we will become more stronger than the Maya. Then Maya cannot do anything. She cannot make any effort. If she cannot do any changes in us. So Maya is there as the superintendent of this jail. Material world is like a jail. We are bound up there, but the jiva. And we cannot be free until we take shelter of Krishna. Who is the real Samam Bonam, or who is the one who could get us from our miseries. Not only that, if you chant, take Krishna's names, then you could get all material also things what you need. You go to so many demigods, so many sadhus, so many places, but sitting in our heart, he is directing us that at least serve Krishna, take Krishna's names, and take the proper. So there is certain rules and regulation. If you follow, then he makes us easy in so many ways. So we could be able to go back home, back to Godhead. So the living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord. Satchitanam. We are also Satchitanam. We are made of Sat and eternality. Chit means knowledge, and Ananda is bliss. So that's all three. And Krishna is also, but is the supreme Param, uh, not this. So, but we are the tiny infinitesimal. Nonetheless, because he is extremely small, he is prone to be illusioned by the external energy. External energy is Maya. So we are prone to be illusioned. Means we are covered. Illusion means just like illusion, delusion, hallucinations. There are various psychiatric terms. So illusion, that we think that this rope, we may think it is as a snake. A tree, we may think as a he may be a bhoot. So many ways that you could think. So because of our smallness, we are prone to be illusioned by the external energy. But because external energy has taken support of Krishna, so she is very strong. Gunama Mama Maya Duratya is very difficult to overcome. And thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. He has many, many desires, like you want to remain naked, become a tree, 10,000 years. And Sequoia Park in California, trees are there for a long time, 5,000, 6,000 years. So it is all because we want to have certain desire. And Krishna does not want to force us, because if it is force, then there is no love. Krishna wants love. He produced us to exchange love. But we are producing our love, or we are to our own sense organs, and the love is with our own kinsmen connected to the body, but it is not really love. It is you each my back, I each your back. So real love is only, so love means a prem means a seva, prem means a bhakti, a prema pumartha mahan, that is beyond this dharma, artha, kam, moksha, uh, but that is done with Krishna only, not with any demigods or any bogus sadhus. We listen to them, and then again we rotate in the material world for so many species of life. We cannot fulfill our desires in the material world. We think that we can. And you go on with many species of life, but in none of the body that soul gets freedom from all enviousness and all the problems of the material world. So we have to get out of this uh, up and down, like out of this that we have been trapped into the material world. And that Krishna has made us easy by hearing some Bhagavad Gita, Srimad Bhagvatam. He has made us very easy for us. So we do not belong to the bodily category. The living being is so sublime that he is equal in quality to the Supreme Lord in Satchidananda, in minute quantity, but that's where it comes Achintya Bheda Bheda. Krishna is full with all this, but we are tiny, infinitesimal, and we get same qualities, but in minute quantity, like a ocean and a drop of the ocean, or a big Sumera mountain and just a small particles of the gold. So nonetheless, because he is extremely small, he is prone to be illusioned by the external energy, and thus he creates various bodies for himself according to his different desires. Purport. In this verse, the philosophy of Achinta Bheda Bhed, simultaneously oneness and difference, is described. Nityo Nityanam Chetanas Chetananam Eko Vai Bauda Vidadhati Kama. That Krishna is eternal, we are also eternal. Nityo Nityanam. So many. Nityanam is plural. So Krishna is Nitya eternal and we are also eternal. But what is the difference? Nityo Nityanam Chetanas, he is conscious, we are also conscious. Chetanas Chetananam Eko Bahunam. That same one person is supplying the needs, is producing them, supplying the needs, protecting them, then annihilating them. This is all Nitya Nityanam, Chetanas Chetananam, Ekova, Kovai Bauda Vidadhati Kama. And he is fulfilling the desires of everybody. You want to drink a hot blood, become a tiger. He makes you a tiger. You want to sleep for long, then become bear and sleep for 6 months. So the living entity is eternal, Nitya, like the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But the difference is that the Supreme Lord is the greatest, no one being equal to him or greater than him. That is called Asama Urdha. Asam means not equal, and Urdha means greater. Nobody is equal or greater than Krishna. Whereas the living entity is Shukshma, tiny, or extremely small. The Shastra describes that the magnitude of the living entity is 1/10,000th the size of the tip of the hair. You cut the tip of the hair 100 times and then take one piece of that and then again 100 times. That is the size of the spirit soul. But when you go to the spiritual kingdom, it develops. Like we remain tiny in the body of the Mahavishnu. Just in 1 gram, there could be millions of Jiva soul. Like just little this coronavirus, how much it would be? You may say in a space like 1 inch by 1 inch, you could have billions of small viruses, which could kill billions of people. So the spirit soul, it is not the same spirit soul, but it is all similar spirit soul in all the living beings. Although the spirit soul is an individual, they have individual desires, individual freedom, individually there is what is their swarup in spiritual kingdom, swarup siddhi. So in spiritual kingdom, we are all there to serve the Supreme Lord, to please the Supreme Lord. And we could start at practicing in this material world while we are, and we could become Jivan Mukta. Means we are free from the entanglement of the body or our senses. Body means group together, senses put together, that makes the body. Working senses, these senses. The Shastra describes that the magnitude of the living entity is 1/10,000th the size of the tip of a hair. The Supreme Lord is all pervading. Andantarastha Paramanu Chayantarastham Govindam Adipurusham Tamaham Bhajami. So the Supreme Lord is smaller than the smallest and the greater than the greatest. He is both. But we are only small. We cannot become gigantic. Krishna's gigantic body like the Trivikram. Within 2 feet, he measured all the planetary system. Or when he shows his giant form, that is Vishwarupa or Virat Rupa. But that is all made of Satchidananda. Is not the material things are not there, not made by earth, water, fire, air, ether, or mind, intelligence, ego. Relatively, if the living entity is accepted as the smallest, there should naturally be inquiry about the greatest. If we are smallest, then who is the greatest? That is Krishna. The greatest is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and the smallest is the living entity. Another peculiar characteristic of the Jiva is that he becomes covered by Maya. Atma Maya Gunahi. He is prone to being covered by the Supreme Lord's illusory energy. The living entity is responsible for his conditional life. This Baddha Jiva, we are bound up in the body. We are not free. Free means we should be in the spiritual kingdom. So we are here bound up by Durga has put us into the cage, Maithunagar, and then we are trying to get out, but we can't unless we take the shelter of Supreme Lord Krishna. Akama sarvakama va moksha kama udaradhi tivrena bhakti yogena yajit purusha param. If you worship the Param Purush, then we could be out of this entanglement. If he likes, means it is up in our hand. There are instructions. But if he likes, he can come to this material world. And if he likes, he can return home back to God. It's our desires, desire or thinking that makes us get trapped into the material world. But you desire that I want to be free, please, Krishna, take shelter up. Give me your shelter. Please let me worship you. Let me be your humble servant. Then he takes charge of you, listens. But we have to ask for it. If he is just doing everything for us, does not the Lord sees that we will fall down from a cliff or we will become, he knows past, present, future. Yes, that is true, he knows, but he does not force us. Because forcing is like making you like a robot or a stone that you kick and it could roll. Then where is the law? In factory, there are many robots that they make, but they are not robots. They may make and they may act, but unless the soul is there, there is thinking, feeling, willing is only with the soul. There may be some thinking, a computer is thinking, but he does not have emotions, or to love somebody, or to hate somebody. They don't have that capability. Because he wanted to enjoy the material world, not the spiritual world. All the enjoyment, what is there in the material world, is in its pure form, is in the spiritual kingdom. And if we go there, we can enjoy all of this. But it is up to us. The Supreme Personality of Godhead gave him a material body through the agency of the material energy, as the Lord himself says in Bhagavad Gita. Ishvara sarvabhutanam taddeshe arjuna tishtati brahmyan sarvabhutani yantra rudhani mayaya. So we are sitting, Ishvara sarvabhutana, the Supreme Lord is situated in everyone's heart, O Arjun, and is directing the wandering of all living entities. He is there, it is about the Paramatma. He is directing the wandering, what body he should get, where he should go, and he could become free if he pray to the Supreme Lord. So we are sitting on a machine made of material energy. This body we are sitting, Paramatma is also there. He's looking at us. When he will turn his face to me, and I could give him some instruction, but we don't want to listen. We are so much enamored by this bhautik our material things and enjoying our senses. We feel that it's very nice. I have to make a little bit change, and then I would be happy. Then they want to make change, then happiness goes further and further, just like Marag Marichika. So the Lord gives us some chance to enjoy as he desires, but he openly expresses his own desire. But Krishna says what he wants, that the living entity give up all material aspiration, fully surrender him unto him, and return home back to Godhead. Sarva dharman parityajya mam ekam shranam braja. A very important lesson, that you give your whole thing to me, take shelter of me, become my devotee, Manmana bhava mad bhakto madhyaji mam namaskuru mame vashyasi satyam te pratijane priyasi me. And whatever I'm saying, you take it as a truth and do not be afraid of any sinful reaction. And you will come to me. And we have to go to Krishna's abode. So we have to know our goal, and then we will be able to give up all this attachment of enjoying in the material world, accumulating so much, having so many more than what we need. We accumulate, we keep it, and you use it for Krishna's service. Whatever is there comes from Krishna. The living entity is the smallest. Shukshma. Jiva Goswami says in this connection that the living entity within the body is extremely difficult for materialistic scientists to find. Although we understand from authorities that the living entity is within the body. Living entity is so tiny that even with the microscope, what we know by the symptom is consciousness. Consciousness is there, Chetna, then we know that yes, I am alive. The soul is there. The body is different from the living entity. This body is completely separate. We could have millions of bodies, different bodies. But we, the soul, has nothing to do with the body. We are assuming that this is my body. I am this body. I am this sense organs. Let me enjoy my senses. So we should have spiritual senses and let us enjoy that, not the just one couple more verses. No यस्यास्ति प्रिय कश्चिन न प्रिय स्वपरोऽपि वा एक सर्वधेयां द्रष्टा कर्तॄणां गुणदोषयो. For this living entity, no one is dear, nor is anyone unfavorable. So duality is in the material world. Heat, cold, he is my friend, he is my enemy, he is my father and mother, he is I am rich, I am poor. And because comparison to other people, we become envious. That is another disease. We become envious. And we cannot understand when, as long as we are envious, we cannot understand our Krishna. Matsarya, that is envious. And envious brings, oh, he has spent so much money for the show, he's showing, I will show more. And we spend more in some parties and marriages and picnics. And so we tried, oh, he has this house, I will have more bigger house. He has this luxury. So this envious problem is another problem. No one is dear, and no one is your not dear, and no one is your enemy. You just remain neutral. Sama. Whole Bhagavad Gita is teaching us samam sarvabhuteshu. Sama part, equanimity. He makes no distinction between that which is his own and that which belongs to anyone else, because everything belongs to Krishna. He is one without a second. This is about the identity of the living entity. In other words, he is not affected by friends and enemies, well-wishers or mischief mongers. He is only an observer, a witness of the different qualities of man. See, he is a soul, just observing all these things. But then we identify that, yes, I am this body. Because our misidentification, we think that I am suffering, I am enjoying. Soul doesn't suffer. I means soul. But we think me, I, that is the false ego, that I am the body. Let me enjoy with the body means a group of senses together. Let me enjoy. That is our falsity. We don't read scriptures, we don't try to understand what Krishna is saying. We have to go and study under some guru. Like even Krishna shows by his example. He took a guru. Krishna went to Sandipani Mani, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, went to Ishwar Puri. Lord Ram learned with Vasistha Muni and Vishwamitra. So like this, there are Krishna is showing that yes, you need a guru, live guru. Tadvidhi pranipatena, pariprashnen. Tad vidhi pranipatena, that you pay obeisances to him. Pariprashna, ask him question. Pariprashnena, and ask him different questions and they engage in service, satisfy him by your service attitude. In Pariprashna Sevaya, Upadeshanti Tyaga, he will give you the instruction because he has seen the truth. So we are only an observer. We are, Krishna says to Arjun, you nimitta matar bhav sabda. You become a nimitta. You just do this, you fight, kill this because I am asking. In military also, a captain or army commander saying you shoot and kill millions. And they do it, but not your own, not for your own record. So, as explained in the previous verse, the living entity has the same qualities as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, but he has them in minute quantity because he is a small particle, Sukshma, whereas the Supreme Lord is all pervading and great. For the Supreme Lord, there are no friends, no enemies for Supreme Lord. Even the living entity, when they are pure, there is no friends or no enemies. For he is completely free from all the disqualification of ignorance that characterize the conditioned soul. On the other hand, he is extremely kind and favorable to his devotees. And is not at all satisfied with persons who are envious. It's envy part of his devotees. His Lord himself confirms in Bhagavad Gita, Samoham sarvabhuteshu na me dvesho isti na priyaha ye bhajanti tu mam bhaktya maite tesu chapyaham. I envy no one, and nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. Equanimity. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend, is in me, he lives with me, and I am also a friend to him. The Supreme Lord has no enemy or friends, but he is inclined towards his devotee, towards a devotee who always engages in his devotional service. Similarly, elsewhere in the Gita, the Lord is saying, Tanaham Drishtana Kruran Sansareshu Naradhaman Kshiprami Ajasram Ashubham Asurim Bhava Ashrita. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, are cast by me into the ocean of material existence. They are thrown back into the material world, into various demonic species of life. The Lord is extremely antagonistic towards those who are envious of his devotees. So one should not become envious. To protect his devotees, the Lord sometimes has to kill their enemies. For example, to protect Prahlad Maharaj, the Lord had to kill the enemy, his enemy, Prahlad's enemy, Hiranyakashipu. Although Hiranyakashipu attained salvation because of his being killed by the Lord, that is one reason, but also he got salvation because he had a Prahlad Maharaj as a devotee. 14 generations to come and 7 previous generation, they all become liberated by engaging. If even one person in your family is a devotee, he can make you free from all the entanglement and this Adi Devik, Adi Bhautik, Adhyatmik care. So he witnesses the actions of the enemies of his devotees, whoever are enemy, because he favors the devotees, and that is natural. You cannot say or you cannot blame that, oh, how come Krishna is putting someone in trouble and someone is awarding him. No, but that same nature we have in the material world. Because everything that comes, it comes from Krishna. So we'll discuss about envy part. He's inclined to punish them. In other words, however, he simply witnesses what the living entity do and give the results of one's sinful or pious activity. If you surrender to Krishna, give up everything, he takes your charge. And that's a very important part. Let him take our charge. And he favors his devotee. So this envy, we'll discuss about the envy. O readers, non-enviousness alone is liberation for the living being. If we don't become, even Bhagavatam is Matsarya Satam, means one who is not Dharma Projita Kaitavos Tarparamo Nirmatsarana. Nirmatsarana Matsarya, no, not Matsarya. Matsarya means envy. For them, that is Bhagavatam is written. Others cannot understand. So this envy, that is the competitor of the divine love. We are meant to divinely love the divine person, Krishna. But this envy that comes in the way, and his competitor, why we should worship Krishna? Why not me? Why not my relative? Why not my son? He is great. He is God. And that way, or some sadhu is God. So we make so many mistakes in the material world, and then rot here, rotate in the so many cycles. Endowed with full faith and devotion, listen to the life work of Sri Chaitanya. Chaitanya Baba. Cast aside envy and let your mouth sing Hari 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 Hari. So this is a great flaw in all of us, known as envy, and how to eradicate it on our devotional path in order to obtain the goal of bhakti. What is prem? The goal of bhakti is the Krishna prem. Srila Bhaktivinoda Thakur has stated, whatever the word Matsarya, envy, has been explained in the Vaishnava scriptures. It is fully understood that its influence is the competitor of divine love. He also states, non-enviousness alone is liberation, and enviousness is entanglement. We are getting entangled more and more. Furthermore, in the Shastra it is said, Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for those who are completely free from envy, completely rejecting all religious activities which are materially motivated. The Bhagavata Puran propounds the highest truth, which is understandable by those devotees who are fully pure in their heart. So one who is pure in heart, they could only understand Srimad Bhagavatam. Being fully pure in heart means there is no envy. Furthermore, it is stated in the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, it is clearly stated, Paramo Nirmat Saranam Satam. Nir means without. Matsarya means envy. This treatise Srimad Bhagavatam is meant for those who are completely free from envy. Those persons who are without envy, ye me matam idam nityam anutustanti. So this is from Bhagavad Gita, verse 331. Hare Krishna.
Shraddhavanta Anusivanta Muchante Sarvakil Vishay.
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
You have some? Okay. So I'm reading one Bhagavad Gita verse 331. Ye me matam idam nityam anutistanti manava shraddhavanta anusuyam suyanti muchyante tepi karma bhi. Those persons who execute their duties according to my injunction, means we have to follow Bhagavad Gita and his instruction, and who follows this teaching faithfully without envy. Who is he? Why is commanding on us? Who is he to give us order? We will do whatever we want. Then you will get entangled. It should be without any become free from the bondage of fruitive actions. The injunction that has been given, rules and regulations by Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna, is the essence of all Vedic wisdom and therefore is eternally true without exception. As the Vedas are eternal, so this truth of Krishna consciousness is also eternal. One should have firm faith in the injunction without envying the Lord. There are many philosophers who write comments on the Bhagavad Gita but have no faith in Krishna. They will never be liberated from the bondage of fruitive action. But an ordinary man with firm faith in the eternal injunctions of the Lord, even though unable to execute such orders, becomes liberated from the bondage of the law of karma. A simpleton person can be liberated easily, but a very scholarly who envy Krishna do not accept Krishna is the summum bonum or the supreme personality of Godhead. He gets entangled in the material world. He don't want to follow the laws of the Supreme Lord. In the beginning of Krishna consciousness, one may not fully discharge injunctions of the Lord, whatever he is saying, the Vedic Bhakti. But because one is not resentful of this principle and works sincerely without consideration of defeat and possessiveness or hopelessness, he will surely be promoted to the stage of pure Krishna consciousness. Like one person, illiterate, but his guru says that you read Bhagavad Gita. Bhagavad Gita is putting upside down. His tears are coming just by seeing the picture. That Krishna is how kind he is. That he becomes the chariot driver of his devotee. Means he gives himself to his devotees. What more do you want? So at least we should remember that how wonderful Krishna, how kind he is. Means there is no need for him to drive the chariot, but he drives chariot of Arjuna. Why? He shows him. He goes, he says that I would not bear a weapon, but he runs behind Bhishma Pitama because Bhishma Pitama wanted to uh, wanted to see him or wanted to fight with him or wanted to see that he shows me silver spot with blood coming. There is no blood in Krishna, but he shows his blood, perspiration, hairs get discovered, his body is covered with dust from the fighting. So you just see these are all Leela of Krishna and his devotees. So a simpleton may become free from all this bondage, but a person who has read, who has donated so much money, who has read all the scriptures, but he has no faith in Krishna or his words, then he will remain in the material world. So the person he will be surely be liberated. There are many verses. Yad Yadvacha lava santusto, dvanda tito vimatsara, sama siddhava siddhocha, kratvapi na vipadyate. This is 422. He who is satisfied with the gain which comes of its own accord, who is free from duality and hate, who you just tolerate and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. He does not get entangled into the material world, go through so many cycles of birth and death. Krishna conscious person does not make much endeavor even to maintain his body because it is maintained by Krishna. He has full faith, that is Sharanagati, that Krishna will provide. He is satisfied with gains which are obtained of their own accord. He neither begs nor borrows, but he labors honestly as far as what we have to do the endeavor, honestly as far as in his power, and is satisfied with whatever he obtains by his own honest labor. He is therefore independent in his livelihood. He does not allow anyone's service to hamper his own service. Means he does not put anybody, oh, I have servant, let him serve. See, Krishna should be served by your own senses. It's not that you hire Ambarish Maharaj. He had so much, whole planet Earth is ruling. But not that he will keep servants to bring. He will go to Yamuna, bring water from Yamuna, give the bathing to Krishna. That is the real bhakti. Rashikesha Rashikena Sevanam Bhakti Uttama. He will cook himself for Krishna. So, however, for the service of the Lord, he can participate in any kind of action without being disturbed in duality of the material world. Ye ganda kam hai, it's not mine. Initially, the devotees come, even Bhakti Charu Maharaj, and they're cleaning pots, cleaning toilets. In America, at least there are no servants to do this work. In India, there are servants and who clean bathroom and all that. But devotees are doing that because it is part of Krishna. The temple is an extension of Krishna. Oh, so one can do any kind of activity and should be ready. The duality of the material world is felt in terms of heat and cold, or misery and happiness. A Krishna conscious person is above duality because he does not hesitate to act in any way for the satisfaction of Krishna. Therefore, he is steady both in success and in failure. These signs are visible when one is fully in transcendental knowledge. So this envy part is very, very prominent. Samoham sarvabhuteshu, this word, na dveshyosti na priya, ye bhajanti tumam bhaktya maite chisu chapyam dveshya. So I envy no one, nor am I partial to anyone. I am equal to all. But whoever renders service unto me in devotion is a friend. So Krishna would make friendship with devotee, and he will protect him in every way. He is in me, and I am in also a friend to him. So it's Krishna lives in the body of the devotees, and the devotees lives in the body or in the heart of Krishna himself. Jahan Bhakta where there are my devotees are singing my glories, I am there. Not Naham Asami Vaikunte. I do not live in Vaikuntha, but I live in the heart of my devotees, or wherever there is his glories are being sung. Living entity in a pure state are called devotees. The Supreme Lord becomes the devotees of his devotees. A reciprocal relationship is not present between the devotee and the Lord. Then there is no personal philosophy. In the impersonal philosophy, there is no reciprocation, but between the Supreme Lord and the living entity. But in the personalities philosophy, there is a reciprocation. Ye yatha mam prapadyante tastateva bhajamya. That the same way that I also worship him accordingly. For the gopis, he says that na pareyam, I cannot pay for your services that you are rendered me. And so he goes behind it. Sometimes they may desire something, and let me give it. Lord is here stated to be partial into devotees, but that is natural. This is the manifestation of the Lord's special mercy to his devotees. So we should understand and become a devotee. The Lord's reciprocation should not be considered to be under the law of karma. It is his personal desire. He is a person, and he could free somebody, he could entangle somebody. He is otherwise, where is the Supreme Lord? He could love somebody, he may hate somebody. So Krishna does this, but devotee should follow the laws of the Supreme Lord. A devotee, but he is very kind, so he is equal to everyone. It is part of the spiritual world where eternality, bliss, and knowledge is predominant. So envy part is many places. In many verses it has been given. Those who are envious and mischievous, who are the lowest among men, I perpetually cast into ocean of material existence, into various demonic species of life. So this is Krishna is saying that people who are envious, they put him in many demonic species. In this verse, but whoever sees Krishna, he becomes free gradually. But he puts them, so we don't become envious. It is clearly stated that placing of a particular individual soul in a particular body is the prerogative of the Supreme Will, Supreme Lord. The demonic persons may not agree to accept the supremacy of the Lord, and it is fact that he may act according to his own whims, but because he is the Supreme Lord, but his next birth will depend upon the decision of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and not on himself. In the Srimad Bhagvatam, third canto, it is stated that an individual soul, after his death, is put into the womb of a mother, where he gets a particular type of body under the supervision of the superior power. Therefore, in the material existence, we find so many species of life, animals, insects, man, and so on. All are arranged by the superior power. They are not accidental. As for the demonic, it is clearly said here that they are perpetually put into the womb of the demons, and thus they continue to be envious, the lowest of mankind. Such demonic species of men are held into, always full of lust, always violent and hateful, and always unclean. The many kinds of hunters in the jungle are considered to belong to the demonic species of life. One who is hunting, killing cows, killing other animals, goats. And so it is Krishna very clearly states all these things. But so one who is not envy, uh, and one has to endeavor to their perfection without any enviousness. So those are not envious. Bhagavad Gita 3:31 says that they do their duties according to my injunction and follow the teachings faithfully. Then we are not envious. Envious means from envy everything arises. From envy, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moh, Mad, everything comes, and Matsarya. From Matsarya, all the things they come. From name, if you chant, then Roop, Gun, Lila, Dham, Entourage, everything comes from name. Same thing from envy. So envy is the worst enemy. He who is satisfied with gain, which comes of his own accord, who is free from duality and does not envy, who is steady in both success and failure, is never entangled, although performing actions. It's not that I would stop acting. No, you act to keep care of body and soul together. So godly men are free from envy. Lust, envy, and enmity. The personality of Kali asked for something more, and because of his begging, the king gave him permission to live where there is gold, because wherever there is gold, there is also falsity, intoxication, lust, envy, and enmity. There is no envy in the spiritual world. The Paramahansa is free from the envy. And people who are in mode of devotional service executed by a person who is envious, proud, violent, and angry, and who is separatist is considered to be in the mode of darkness. The opulence of self-realized persons, they are very opulent. I would not go in detail. The time is up. Diminished by the dust of the feet of this envy. If you take the dust and chant, this envy and anger are the product produced by Kali. All suffering arises due to enviousness. So anyway, if there is any comments or questions, we can discuss. Please unmute them. We took 3 verses from Bhagavatam, 8th, 9th, and I think 10th. 8th, 9th, 8th, 9th, and 10th. Okay. So envy is the
Hare Krishna,
competitor of
Maharaj.
divine love. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Maharaj. Sri Prabhupada.
Dandat Pranam Prabhupada. Jai Srila
Such a
Prabhupada.
nectarian class, and with your purifying aspiration, it was so relishing. I have a question regarding
Okay.
the King Chitraketu Stan. He after leaving the body, it seems he became Krishna conscious. So was it like he was Krishna conscious before, during his lifetime also, or after giving up the body, he became Krishna conscious? And if
No,
I mean, if he has become Krishna conscious after leaving the body, so is he supposed to go back to Vaikuntha, or is he supposed to get another body?
no. If you are pure devotees, then leaving the body, there may be a plane may come from the Krishna Lok and takes you there. So you are devotee before you die. You have to take to that process. Then only you can go to Krishna Lok or Vaikuntha Lok. So it depends on if you are in, like, you want to love Krishna as his lover in the Madhurya Bhav, you go to Krishna Lok. In Vaikuntha Lok, that is practically not there. Or you want to become parents of Krishna, you have that affection, then Krishna Lok. If you want to become friend like Arjuna and Krishna, you go to Krishna Lok. With awe and reverence, then you remain in the Vaikuntha Loka. So in Vaikuntha Loka, there is different kinds of vibration, Salokya, Samipya, Sarupya, Sarsti, Sayujya. But in Krishna Lok, you could develop so intimate because we are part of Krishna. We are meant to go to Krishna Lok. Okay, so they have to be a devotee to go to Krishna. Not that you become devotee after you go to Krishna. For many births sometime, not just one life.
So after the leaving the body, the consciousness he generally gets purified, or it may
No,
still get.
even during the life, you become purified during while you are here. And with a purified consciousness, only you can go to Krishna love. But not that the purification starts whenever you start devotional service, you become purified. Just like the onion has many peels, so gradually layers of all the impurities, they go away by your practice, by your sadhana bhakti. And then you become so much close by that you could performing Raganuga bhakti also. But not prematurely. It will be revealed to you. Everybody has some relationship with Krishna that we have forgotten. But that will come to your senses that, oh, I was such and such. So, and then you engage in that activity. Okay. Any other question?
Hare Krishna. Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna Maharaj, Pranam, Nishpad.
Hare Krishna, Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Maharaj, I have a question.
Okay.
So you mentioned about consciousness and it is carried with the soul. Is consciousness same as subtle body?
Consciousness in a subtle body?
Is same as the Sukshma Sharir?
No. Shukshar is completely
Body?
different.
No?
Soul is consciousness is there because of the soul, presence of the soul. That is the gives the consciousness. Not the subtle body is material. Subtle body is made of mind, intelligence, ego. That is all material. But in the spiritual world, when you go, then your mind becomes spiritualized. Everything becomes spiritualized.
So to understand consciousness, like how do we understand what is consciousness?
Chetna, that you could respond, you could talk, you could feel, thinking, feeling, willing. That is all the part of the soul. Now it is becomes a material world. We think about material things, but consciousness, soul's symptom, or how do you know that soul is there? Is consciousness.
Oh, okay. Energy. It's a sort of energy of the soul, the spirit, right?
Right.
Srimad?
You're right.
Okay.
Yeah, spirit soul is the one that gives consciousness.
Okay. Thank you, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So best thing that we should become Krishna conscious. Think of Krishna is doing everything. He's my well-wisher. He's the owner. He's the enjoyer. We think that I am the enjoyer, let me enjoy. But then we get entangled. Bhaktaram Yagitapasam Sarvaloka Maheshwaram. He's Maha Ishwar, controller. Shrodam, he's our well-wisher. Sarvabhutana, for everybody. Yaj Gyatva Shanti Pritchati. Any other questions? Say I have to offer Aarti in few minutes. Okay, so can we
Hare
stop
Krishna
now?
Maharaj, thank you so much for this nectarian class. Your classes are always so information and nectarian. Thank you so much, Maharaj. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
Vanchakalpatarivasya
So we will end
Kripas.
here.
Yes, Maharaj. पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की जय। समाचार्य तुलसीदास ठाकुर की जय। श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। हिज ग्रेस शमिक ऋषि महाराज की जय। कंचरा श्रीमद भागवत की जय। हरे कृष्णा। दंडवत प्रणाम।